All right, let's get into it. We hear the word blockchain thrown around all the time, right? And usually it's about crypto. But what if its most important job wasn't in our digital wallets, but actually on our dinner plates? That's what we're digging into today, how this tech could completely change the food we eat.
I mean, really think about it for a second. That apple you're about to eat, it's been on a journey. From a farm to a packer, a distributor, a store, it has a whole life story. But let's be honest, right now, that entire story is pretty much a black box.
Okay, but now picture this. You scan a little code on that apple, and suddenly you see everything. The farm it grew on, the exact day it was picked, what its carbon footprint was. No more guesswork, no more blind faith. You just know. That's the dream of radical transparency that blockchain is selling.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, at its heart, a blockchain is basically a digital record book. Think of it like a shared spreadsheet that everyone in the supply chain can see. Every time that apple moves from the farm to the truck to the store, a new entry is made. And here's the game changer. Once an entry is made, it's permanent. It can't be secretly deleted or changed. It's one single verifiable source of truth for everyone. And this is exactly why this matters so much. Consumer trust in the food industry is at a rock bottom. I mean, look at that number. Less than half of us think the industry is acting ethically. When there's a food recall for something dangerous, it can take weeks to figure out where it came from. Blockchain is meant to fix that fundamental problem of trust. But this goes way beyond just us as consumers. It's about creating a fairer system for the people at the very beginning of the chain, the farmers. The potential here is huge. With totally transparent transactions, everybody can see who gets paid what and when. And then you have smart contracts, which are basically automated payments. So the second a shipment of coffee beans is confirmed, the farmer gets paid instantly. It cuts out all those middlemen and delays that slowly chip away at their profits.
So when you zoom out, the list of potential benefits is pretty incredible. We're talking about next-level food safety, a way to actually prove that something is organic or sustainably farmed, a tool to cut down on food waste, and even a way to accurately track the carbon footprint of your groceries. It's a really compelling vision for a food system that's smarter and safer for everyone.
And you might be thinking, okay, that all sounds great, but it's just a cool idea, right? It's years away. Well, no. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now, and some of the biggest companies in the world are pouring millions of dollars into it.
So who's already at the table? You've got giants like Walmart using blockchain to trace things like leafy greens to stop outbreaks faster. Nestlé is on board, tracking coffee and cocoa to back up their sustainability claims. Even Tyson Foods is using it to manage the suppliers. These aren't just little pilot programs. This is a serious industry-wide shift.
And if you want to understand the real-world power of this, get this. Walmart ran a test to trace a package of mangoes back to its original farm. Before blockchain, that process took them almost 7 days. With blockchain, it took them 2.2 seconds. I mean, just think about that. When you're dealing with a food safety crisis, that's not just saving money, that's a speed that can literally save lives.
So, case closed, right? Blockchain is the silver bullet that's going to fix our entire food system. Well, not so fast. The journey from the promise to the reality on the ground is, let's just say, a lot more complicated. And here's where that perfect vision runs headfirst into cold, hard reality. The big promise is that this technology will empower small farmers. But the reality is, the cost to set up these systems is incredibly high. So instead of leveling the playing field, there's a very real danger that it actually makes the big corporate farms even more powerful, leaving the little guy further behind.
And the roadblocks don't stop with the cost. You've also got a maze of different regulations in every country, the need for specialized tech skills that most farmers just don't have, and hey, let's not forget the huge amount of energy some of these blockchains use, which kind of clashes with the whole sustainability goal. Each one of these is a massive hurdle.
And all of these practical problems start to raise a much deeper, more fundamental question. What is this technology really being used for? Is the main goal to build a genuinely fairer system for everyone? Or is it just a very sophisticated, very expensive new marketing tool? To figure that out, let's take a look at the coffee industry.
So on the surface, this is what we think the coffee supply chain looks like. It's a nice, clean, straight line. Beans are grown, they get processed, shipped, roasted, and then end up in your cup. It looks simple, logical, almost equal.
But that's the story they tell on the bag. The reality looks a lot more like this. See the difference? All the power, all the control is bunched up right in the middle, with the big importers and roasters. They're the ones calling the shots, and they hold most of the influence over the entire chain, often at the expense of the farmers.
So when we talk about making this system fair, what does that word even mean? Well, researchers break it down into 3 key parts. First, there's distributive fairness. That's about the money. Is it being shared equitably? Then you've got procedural fairness. Are the rules of the game and the negotiations fair? And finally, interactional fairness. Are people being treated with basic dignity and respect?
And this is where it gets really interesting. When researchers actually looked at what information companies were putting on their blockchains, they found something pretty telling. You see tons of procedural info, things like shipping dates and transport documents. But when you look for distributive info, the hard data on how much the farmers actually got paid, that information is suddenly very scarce. The single most important piece of the fairness puzzle is often the one piece that's conveniently left out.
But here's the real twist. You'd think the giant corporations with all the resources would be leading the charge on transparency, right? Well, research shows it's actually the opposite. It's often the smaller, mission-driven companies that are providing way more detail about payments and fairness, which makes you wonder if, for some of the bigger players, this is less about creating real change and more about just looking like they are.
And that really brings us to the heart of the issue. The technology itself is powerful. It can give us a crystal clear window into the entire journey of our food. But the thing about a window is someone decides how much of it is clear and how much is frosted over. So the real question is, who gets to decide what we see? Is this technology going to be controlled by the people who want to build a truly fair system, or by those who just want to sell us a better sounding story? That's the multi-billion-dollar question on the menu.